When Levi Waldron isn't working as a professor and public health data scientist, he runs marathons. In 2024, Levi ran the New York Marathon, 5 years after being diagnosed and treated for HPV-related throat cancer.
I kept on thinking to myself, you think like in a marathon, you get tired and you'd be like thinking, oh my God, when is this going to end? But I kept thinking to myself, oh my God, I don't want this to end because this is just such a privilege and such a special, memorable moment in my life.
Because as a cancer survivor, Levi says running a marathon became the culmination of his recovery. Knowing that to run, his body is working and well. It was much different when he first felt a lump on the right side of his neck in 2019.
The ultrasound came back with some scary sounding things in it, and it all started from there, but with no meaningful symptoms other than just that lump. I was completely asymptomatic except for just this lump that it didn't bother me in any way. If I happened to put my finger there, I could feel it, and it turned out that it was like the size of an egg.
Levi chose the standard treatment of radiation therapy and 6 doses of cisplatin chemotherapy over 7 weeks. Fit and relatively young at 45, Levi recovered better than most. But he also remembers those first few months post-treatment as what he calls painful and disgusting.
I had nausea, I had hiccups that made me bark like a seal, which they managed to fix. Eventually, it was being caused by acid reflux. I had terrible dry mouth that everyone has. I had lots and lots of phlegm that was hard to clear out. I had to carry a spit cup around with me all the time. I had pain in my mouth and my throat that made it difficult to swallow. I had what else did I have? Well, I had continuous fatigue. I had peripheral neuropathy afterwards, which was a tingling in my feet and a strange sensation of not being able to feel the ground.
Now, with both feet firmly planted, Levi wants others to understand that HPV cancers are preventable with the HPV vaccine.
I wish that vaccine had existed when I was young and I could have taken it. And I certainly can't imagine if it had been available and my parents hadn't given it to me. I won't do that, but I thought about that, what that would feel like.
What would you like people to know about HPV as being kind of the cause of your cancer? And, how should people look at that it's cancer is cancer, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are stigmas around all sexually transmitted infections. I think there shouldn't be. They're a part of life, and they're a part of our health. HPV is not the only one. There are plenty of sexually transmitted infections. They are very common, especially HPV. And I think, I got over my stigma quickly because I felt like I saw, like you, that it's something that just isn't talked about. And I think that as long as people are trying to pretend that it doesn't exist, they're putting their own health at risk and other people's health at risk, and it's also a risk to public health as a whole.
And for those whose struggle is yet to come, Levi says what worked for him was to approach his recovery like a project.
I just had to trust my treatment team. I had to depend on my caregivers, but there were certain things that weren't in my control, like making sure that I drank my 2 liters of water a day to protect my kidneys, making sure I took all of my pills on time when I was supposed to take them, making sure that I took my 3 Ensure Pluses per day that I was prescribed, the meal replacement drinks, just these little things, my tongue and neck exercises, and just focusing on those things and kind of trying not to think too much about the other things that were out of my control.
Levi's future is very much under control. 4.5 years after finishing chemo and radiation, Levi and his longtime partner Barbara tied the knot.
I feel like patients still have a responsibility to treat their caregivers and partners well, and I would really say, like, remember that, like, yes, as the patient, we're in physical pain and suffering, but the caregivers, they're in pain as well.
Levi and Barbara's courage and fortitude during the cancer journey, undeniably medal worthy.